A divine appointment is already scheduled in your life, even if you cannot see it yet. This is not wishful thinking, and it is not empty motivation. It is the understanding that your life is not drifting without direction. There are moments prepared for you that will not belong to anyone else. Just because you cannot trace the movement does not mean nothing is happening. Seeds grow beneath the soil long before they break through the surface. In the same way, certain opportunities, connections, and answers are aligning quietly. Many people become discouraged because they expect instant evidence. But purpose does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it develops in silence, in ordinary days, in routines that feel repetitive. If you learn to respect the quiet seasons, you will begin to see that delay is not denial, it is preparation. And preparation is proof that something specific is being arranged with your name on it. The danger is not that the appointment will disappear without reason. The real danger is distraction. When you convince yourself that nothing meaningful is ahead, you stop paying attention. When you allow disappointment to define your expectations, you lower your awareness. A divine appointment requires alertness. It may come through a simple conversation, a new responsibility, or an idea that seems small at first. If you dismiss it because it does not match your imagination, you may overlook the very thing you once prayed for. That is why mindset matters. Expectation sharpens your perception. Faith does not mean ignoring reality. It means remaining open to possibility, even when circumstances seem unchanged. Stay engaged with your growth. Stay committed to integrity in small things. When your heart and actions remain aligned with purpose, you position yourself to recognize the moment when it arrives. And when it does, you will understand that it was never random. It was always scheduled. The miracle that is coming will require awareness and spiritual sensitivity so that you recognize it when it arrives. Not every breakthrough announces itself with noise and celebration. Sometimes it enters your life quietly, wrapped in ordinary moments. If you are constantly distracted by comparison, negativity, or fear, you may overlook what has been placed right in front of you. Awareness begins with stillness. When you slow down enough to reflect, you begin to notice patterns, opportunities, and subtle shifts. Sensitivity is not about emotion alone. It is about discernment. It is the ability to sense when something carries deeper meaning. Many people pray for change, but when change appears in an unfamiliar form, they resist it. The miracle may not look exactly like your expectation, but it will carry alignment with your growth. Train your mind to look beyond appearances. Learn to ask, what is this moment teaching me and where is it leading me? Awareness turns ordinary encounters into life-changing opportunities. Spiritual sensitivity also requires honesty within yourself. You cannot recognize what is meant for you if you are constantly doubting your own worth or ignoring your inner conviction. There is a quiet guidance that speaks through intuition, wisdom, and peace. When something aligns with your purpose, it will not create confusion in your core. It may challenge you, but it will not contradict your values. Sensitivity grows when you practice gratitude, reflection, and intentional focus. Reduce the noise that competes for your attention. Guard your thoughts from constant negativity. When your inner world is calm and clear, your outer decisions become sharper. The miracle may begin as a small opportunity, a conversation, or a decision that requires courage. If you stay present and attentive, you will sense the significance before others do. Recognition is the first step toward reception. When you recognize what is unfolding, you can respond with confidence instead of hesitation, and that response can change everything. Doubt and fear are the greatest distractions that cause many people to overlook their breakthrough. They rarely appear as obvious enemies. Instead, they whisper reasonable excuses. They tell you to wait a little longer, to avoid risk, to stay where things feel familiar. Fear often disguises itself as practicality, and doubt pretends to be wisdom. But when you examine them closely, you realize they are rooted in past disappointments and imagined failures. If you allow these emotions to control your decisions, you begin to shrink your expectations. You stop reaching. You stop believing that something meaningful can happen now. Breakthroughs do not disappear because they lack power. They are missed because fear convinces you not to step forward. The opportunity may stand at your door, but hesitation keeps it outside. To overcome this, you must challenge the narratives in your mind. Ask yourself whether your hesitation is based on present truth or past pain. Awareness of this difference is the first step toward freedom. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means refusing to let fear make your final decision. Every significant step forward will involve uncertainty. That is natural. Growth always stretches comfort zones. If you wait until you feel completely confident, you may wait forever. Instead, practice moving forward even while your voice shakes. Doubt loses strength when confronted with action. Each small decision made in faith builds momentum. Over time, your confidence grows not because circumstances are perfect, but because you have proven to yourself that you can act despite uncertainty. Breakthrough often requires a simple but bold response, a conversation you have been avoiding, an application you have been postponing, a commitment you have been questioning. When you choose action over avoidance, you create space for transformation. Fear may still speak, but it no longer leads. And when fear no longer leads, you begin to see opportunities that were always there, waiting for your courage to claim them. Patience is not passive waiting, but active trust that prepares your heart for what is about to unfold. Many people misunderstand patience as doing nothing, as simply counting days until something changes. True patience is different. It is a disciplined mindset. It is choosing to remain steady while growth is taking place beneath the surface. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up every day to check its progress. You water it, protect it, and trust the process. In the same way, patience requires consistent effort and steady belief. You continue learning, improving, and showing up even when visible results are slow. This season of waiting is not empty space. It is preparation. Your character is being strengthened. Your perspective is being refined. Impulsiveness can destroy what patience would have protected. When you rush ahead of timing, you risk stepping into situations you are not ready to sustain. But when you practice active trust, you build endurance, you develop resilience. And resilience ensures that when the opportunity finally arrives, you will have the maturity to handle it wisely rather than emotionally. Active trust also transforms your attitude during uncertainty. Instead of complaining about delays, you begin to look for lessons. Instead of comparing your timeline with others, you focus on your own development. Comparison often steals peace and creates unnecessary pressure. Patience restores clarity. It reminds you that every life unfolds at a different pace. What is meant for you does not require panic to obtain it. It requires consistency. During this period, small habits matter more than dramatic moves. Daily discipline, gratitude, and reflection shape your readiness. When impatience tries to convince you that nothing is happening, remember that unseen progress is still progress. A strong foundation is rarely built overnight. When your season shifts, you will realize that the waiting was not wasted. It trained you. It positioned you. And because you chose active trust instead of frustration, you will step into the next chapter, grounded, confident, and fully prepared for what is ahead. Obedience in small daily actions positions you to receive greater blessings at the right time. Many people wait for a dramatic sign before they decide to commit fully, but growth rarely begins with something dramatic. It begins with small, consistent choices. The way you manage your time, the way you treat people, the way you respond when no one is watching, these details shape your future more than one big moment ever could. Small acts of discipline build inner strength. When you choose integrity over convenience, you strengthen your character. When you honor responsibilities that seem minor, you prove that you can be trusted with more. Obedience is not about restriction, it is about alignment. It keeps your actions connected to your deeper values. Every time you follow through on a commitment, even when it feels ordinary, you are building a foundation. Foundations are not impressive to look at, but without them, nothing lasting can stand. The right time will come, but preparation determines whether you are ready when it does. Consistency in small things also sharpens your awareness and builds confidence. When you repeatedly choose the right action, it becomes part of who you are. You no longer hesitate because discipline has become natural. This is how readiness is formed. Many people desire large opportunities yet neglect the daily habits that would prepare them to handle those opportunities wisely. Growth does not suddenly appear when success arrives, it is cultivated beforehand. Each responsible decision strengthens your capacity. Each act of faithfulness increases your endurance. When the greater blessing finally presents itself, it will not feel overwhelming because you have been training for it all along. The unseen efforts you make today are shaping the stability of tomorrow. Do not underestimate the power of steady obedience. It may seem slow, but it is strategic. Step by step, choice by choice, you are positioning yourself. And when the moment of expansion comes, you will recognize that it was not luck. It was the natural result of consistent preparation. Gratitude opens doors that complaining can never unlock and keeps your spirit aligned with promise. When you focus only on what is missing, your energy becomes heavy and your vision becomes narrow. Complaining may feel justified in difficult seasons, but it slowly shifts your attention away from possibility. Gratitude does not ignore challenges. It simply refuses to let challenges define the entire picture. When you intentionally recognize what is still working in your life, you create mental and emotional space for hope. Gratitude strengthens resilience because it reminds you that progress often exists alongside pressure. Even small blessings, when acknowledged, begin to shift your perspective. A supportive conversation, a lesson learned from failure, a new idea forming in your mind, these are signs of movement. The more you appreciate them, the more aware you become of growth. Gratitude trains your mind to look for opportunity rather than limitation, and when your focus changes, your decisions begin to change as well. A grateful mindset also prepares you to handle greater responsibility. When you value what you already have, you treat it with care. This attitude naturally attracts trust and new opportunity. People are drawn to those who recognize value rather than constantly criticize circumstances. Gratitude strengthens relationships, improves focus, and stabilizes your emotions during uncertainty. It keeps you grounded while you wait for larger breakthroughs. Instead of comparing your journey to someone else's timeline, gratitude centers you in your own progress. It reminds you that every step forward matters, even if it feels small. Complaining can create temporary release, but it does not build momentum. Gratitude builds momentum quietly and consistently. It positions your heart to receive more because you have proven that you can appreciate what is already present. When your spirit remains aligned with appreciation, you become more attentive to new possibilities, and often the very doors you were hoping would open begin to respond to the perspective you chose to cultivate. Challenges are often signs that transformation is near and that your season is shifting. When pressure increases, it is easy to assume that something is going wrong, but growth frequently announces itself through discomfort. Think about any meaningful progress in your life. It likely required stretching beyond what felt familiar. Resistance does not always mean you are off track. Sometimes it means you are moving forward into unfamiliar territory. When a new level of responsibility, awareness, or opportunity approaches, your old habits begin to feel uncomfortable. This tension is not meant to break you, it is meant to reshape you. The key is to respond with reflection rather than reaction. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this preparing me for?" That single shift in perspective changes everything. It turns frustration into focus. It turns confusion into curiosity. Every challenge carries information. If you pay attention, you will discover that difficulty often signals that your current mindset or skill set is being upgraded. Transformation also requires endurance. A season does not change overnight. There is usually a period where the old is fading, but the new is not fully visible. That in-between stage can feel uncertain. You may question your progress. You may feel tempted to retreat to what is comfortable, but if you remain steady, clarity will begin to emerge. Just before growth becomes visible, effort usually intensifies. This is where many people give up. They misinterpret intensity as failure. In reality, it can be confirmation that something new is forming. Stay consistent in your discipline. Guard your thoughts from negativity. Surround yourself with influences that strengthen rather than weaken your resolve. When you persevere through challenge with patience and self-awareness, you build strength that cannot be taken away. And when the shift finally becomes clear, you will look back and realize that the pressure was not punishment. It was preparation for a new level of purpose and stability in your life. When the opportunity comes, courage will be necessary to step forward and claim what has been prepared for you. Many people pray for change, ask for growth, and hope for new doors to open. But when the door finally appears, it rarely removes all uncertainty. Opportunity often carries risk. It asks you to leave familiar ground and trust that you are ready. This is where courage becomes essential. Courage is not loud confidence or dramatic gestures. It is a quiet decision to move forward, even when you cannot see the entire path. The opportunity may look small at first. It may come as a conversation, a responsibility, or a chance that stretches your ability. If you hesitate too long, fear can convince you that you are not prepared. But preparation has been happening in ways you may not fully recognize. Every lesson, every challenge, every season of waiting has been building capacity within you. When the moment arrives, do not focus on what could go wrong. Focus on who you have become. Stepping forward also requires commitment. Once you say yes to growth, you must remain consistent even when excitement fades. The first step may feel bold, but sustained effort is what turns opportunity into lasting transformation. Courage is not a one-time action. It is a mindset that continues beyond the initial decision. You may encounter doubt along the way. You may face resistance or unexpected difficulty. But if the opportunity aligns with your values and long-term vision, remain steady. Remind yourself why you chose to move forward. Progress does not demand perfection. It demands persistence. Each courageous step strengthens your confidence and expands your capacity. If you ignore the opportunity out of fear, it may pass quietly. But if you embrace it with faith and discipline, it can redirect the course of your life. The moment will not wait forever. When it comes, choose action over hesitation and allow your courage to lead you into what has already been prepared. Your mindset determines whether you recognize the miracle or overlook it as coincidence. Many life-changing moments first appear ordinary. They do not arrive with announcements or guarantees. They often look like responsibility, adjustment, or a simple invitation to grow. If your thinking is limited by past disappointment, you may label a new beginning as just another routine event. That is why awareness must be supported by the right mindset. When you expect nothing good, you train your eyes to see only obstacles. When you remain open to possibility, you begin to notice patterns, connections, and timing that feel purposeful. This does not require exaggeration or blind optimism. It requires balanced perspective. Instead of assuming the worst, allow room for progress. Instead of dismissing small shifts, examine them carefully. The way you interpret events shapes your response to them, and your response determines whether an opportunity expands or disappears. A prepared mind sees potential where others see inconvenience. Developing this mindset takes intention. You must challenge negative assumptions before they become permanent beliefs. If something new appears in your path, pause before rejecting it. Ask whether fear is influencing your judgment. Ask whether growth might require temporary discomfort. Reflection creates clarity. Clarity creates confidence. The more you practice thoughtful evaluation instead of automatic doubt, the sharper your discernment becomes. Over time, you build trust in your ability to recognize alignment. You learn the difference between distraction and direction. A miracle does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like a new skill to develop, a new environment to enter, or a responsibility that stretches you. When your mindset is grounded in patience, gratitude, and courage, you respond with wisdom instead of hesitation. And that response transforms possibility into reality. What others might call coincidence, you will recognize as preparation meeting readiness. The difference is not luck. It is perception shaped by intentional growth. Faithfulness in the unseen season determines the strength of your visible breakthrough. There are moments in life when your effort feels unnoticed and your progress seems hidden. You continue working, learning, and improving, yet there is no applause and no immediate reward. This unseen season can test your commitment. It asks whether you are driven only by recognition or by purpose. True growth often takes place away from attention. Character is built in private decisions. Discipline is formed when no one is monitoring your consistency. These hidden choices shape the foundation of your future success. If you abandon effort simply because results are delayed, you interrupt the process that was strengthening you. The unseen season is not a pause in your journey. It is a critical phase of development. It refines your motives and strengthens your resilience. When the breakthrough finally becomes visible, it will rest upon habits and integrity that were formed long before anyone noticed. Remaining faithful during this time requires clarity about your values. You must remind yourself why you began and what truly matters. External validation is temporary, but inner conviction provides lasting direction. Each day you choose responsibility over excuses, you add stability to your future. Each time you resist the urge to quit prematurely, you expand your endurance. Faithfulness does not mean perfection, it means persistence. It means returning to your commitments even after setbacks. Over time, these consistent actions create momentum. When opportunity eventually appears, you will not scramble to prepare. You will already be prepared. The strength developed in hidden seasons becomes visible confidence. The discipline cultivated in private becomes public reliability. What once felt unnoticed will reveal its value. Breakthrough does not begin when others see it. It begins when you decide to remain steady despite silence. And because you stayed consistent when it was difficult, you will be able to sustain success when it finally arrives. Discernment protects you from mistaking distraction for destiny. Not every open door is meant for you, and not every delay is a denial. As you move closer to meaningful change, options may increase. Some will look appealing simply because they offer quick results or immediate comfort. Without discernment, it becomes easy to confuse urgency with importance. True alignment carries clarity and steady conviction, even if it requires patience. Distraction often creates pressure and emotional impulse. Destiny develops through thoughtful progression and inner peace. When you cultivate discernment, you learn to pause before reacting. You evaluate whether a decision supports your long-term growth or merely satisfies a temporary desire. This careful awareness prevents wasted energy and unnecessary setbacks. A miracle can be missed not only through fear, but also through misdirection. Staying grounded in your values allows you to recognize what truly belongs in your path and what should be released. Developing discernment requires reflection and honest self-evaluation. You must be willing to question your motives and examine your reactions. If something promises rapid reward but compromises your integrity, it is likely a distraction. If an opportunity challenges you while strengthening your character, it may deserve serious consideration. Discernment grows stronger when you reduce noise and make space for clear thinking. Constant comparison and outside pressure cloud judgment. Silence and thoughtful analysis sharpen it. Over time, you begin to trust your ability to sense alignment. You understand that progress is not measured only by speed, but by direction. When you choose wisely, you conserve energy for what truly matters. And when the right opportunity appears, you will recognize it without confusion. That clarity gives you confidence to step forward decisively. In a world filled with options, discernment becomes your safeguard. It ensures that when your appointed moment arrives, you are not distracted but ready to embrace it fully.